Outstanding, Private Pyle. I think we finally found something that you do well.
Sir, yes, sir.
What's up, guys? It's Benny. There are no coincidences, right? So then ask yourself the question about President Trump's assassination. How did 1,000 concurrent miracles happen at exactly the right time for Thomas Crooks to get the shot off and hit President Trump in the head with a bullet and also kill members of the MAGA movement? The more you look at the actual video evidence of that assassination attempt, the stranger it gets. Like, watch this. Perhaps you've never seen this footage. This is how obvious it was that the assassination was about to happen. People on the ground gathered around, literally filming Thomas.
I wouldn't do his job. I wouldn't even be doing this. I'd be at some beautiful places, the gorgeous ocean.
Look, they're all pointing.
The Atlantic,
Look at this.
the Pacific.
Yeah, someone's on top of the roof. Look,
Look, someone's on the roof.
there he is right there.
You can just see him.
Right there, see him? He's laying down, see him?
Yeah, he's laying
You
down.
can just see him with the gun crawling across the roof.
Instead, I'm here with you fighting
No security.
What's happening?
And to make sure we take back the
People, you can see here, a bunch of people were just able to stand right next to Trump with no security whatsoever. None of these people were screened. None of these. Here, look, you can see Thomas Matthew Crooks actually just crawling with his gun on the rooftop. Why was this allowed? You know, there were sniper positions right above Thomas Crooks. There was a water tower that would have had perfect overwatch. Why were there so many just pedestrians that could see that this man was about to try and murder Trump and come within a centimeter actually of doing that? But no law enforcement had any urgency. Also, the snipers that were positioned behind Trump had no vision, urgency, or overwatch. It just leads to a lot of questions, right? And it seems like in a world of very strange coincidences that maybe there's something more to all of this. We really liked this Tucker Carlson investigation into Thomas Crooks. Who is Thomas Crooks? It's been seen by 7.4 million people, 16,000 reposts. In this 30-minute video, which we encourage you to watch, Tucker goes into great detail about how Thomas Crooks had a online history that shows pure radicalization against Donald Trump. How he started off, according to his comments, as somebody who tacitly supported President Trump, and then he turned into a Trump-hating radical who psychotically went after the president and then went dark for a couple of years, built bombs, practiced at gun ranges with DHS, and allegedly had some very interesting and mysterious online interactions. Nonetheless, the FBI has said that Crooks acted alone after an unprecedented global investigation. So Tucker's asking, is there more here? I think the thing that Tucker has dead to rights is that the FBI under Joe Biden lied about Thomas Crooks. They said that he was a right-wing extremist. He was, in fact, a left-wing extremist who hated Donald Trump and wanted to commit violence against the federal government, President Trump, his supporters, and so on. That's cataloged under his own name in his own comment section on YouTube. How much more do they have? You know, the feds actually have his phone. I would just hope that they would perhaps release everything that they have, and that's all I would want in this scenario. The whole, again, as we say this a lot, the whole like, trust us, bro, you know, we're good. It just doesn't fly anymore. The faith in these organizations have been atomized. And, you know, is it Donald Trump's fault? No. It's the fault of generations of destruction for the FBI, the CIA, our intelligence agencies, federal law enforcement. Anyway, they're saying now that they looked into all of the potential co-conspirators for Thomas Crooks and that there was nothing there. Kash Patel sat down with Laura Trump, Fox News show, and did an interview. Obviously, Laura Trump, pretty affected by the assassination attempt on her father-in-law, and she asked some probing questions about this. Were there foreign fingerprints? Was there a cover-up? Was there a manifesto? And so on. Kash Patel had shut down. It says conspiracy mills, but I'm just going to call them theories because in absence of actual evidence, they're just theories, right? So Kash Patel has shut down these theories and said effectively Crooks acted alone, but he's open to new evidence. All right. I would argue release all the evidence that the federal government has, including the incinerated body. This is something that like the Trump family has obviously been talking about for a long time. Here's Kash Patel.
FBI has now said, as it relates to Thomas Crooks, who was the attempted assassin in Butler, Pennsylvania, that he worked alone. So there's been so much that has surrounded this, so many questions, people saying, well, we don't know that we feel we have the full story. You guys at the FBI are saying, this is the full story. He worked alone. Can you give us insight into what led you into that determination?
We took a similar approach with this investigation as the one we just talked about. We said, look, the public has questions. Let's go look at everything again, just in case. And so we've been presenting the administration with our findings over the course of the last few months, even 6-8 months now. And the president has been fully satisfied with our findings because this is what we did. We got into every single device that was seized that he owned, read every email, read every contact, read every social media posting he had. And we did a full-blown investigation into, are you, Thomas Crooks, in touch with anyone overseas? And did you have information as to motive or working with others on this? That was the extent and depth of our research. And that's why we are able to today say, based on what we have in our holdings, in our investigation, that led us to the conclusion we led to. But we've also left it in a pending and active status. That means if some other information were to come to light in the future, well, we will look at that. That's why we never shut it off. Unlike other administrations, the prior one, they just said, we're done. Nothing to see here. And so we're trying to give the American public as much accountability as we can and transparency, but we can't answer the black space in terms of what's out there on social media and all of that. We're not in the business of hiding anything. What would this FBI have to hide by someone who tried to kill President Trump and did kill another individual and shot others on that day?
So, I mean, again, I would like an explanation as to why the FBI was scrubbing the scene. We were there a week after the assassination attempt. There was literally no one and nothing, no crime scene investigation, nothing happening at all. Of course, they cremated the body. I would like the release of everything. I'm being told that the reason why we don't have everything is because the highest of highest up just doesn't, has decided not to release everything. So what are you going to do? I mean, the best that you can do, I guess, is continue to push and hope that there's going to be some release of all of the available evidence. I don't know. I haven't seen the evidence. But I'd like to see, obviously, why were they power washing the roof at the crime scene? Why was this all happening so fast? I'd like to see toxicology reports. I'd like to see brain matter reports and scientific analysis of spinal fluid. I'd like to see, if this kid was on any drugs. I'd really like to see the cell phone messages, obviously. I'd really like to see who he was communicating with. We need specific explanations for specific questions spelled out in writing. Who ordered the building washed down? Who approved the cremation? Who was he communicating with? That's exactly right. We're not in the business of hiding anything. Okay, well, then we want it released, right? Trump, satisfied with conclusion of would-be assassin Thomas Crooks, acted alone. FBI claims there is no cover-up. I would just say that Trump being satisfied is awesome. You need to release it to the American people. Ladies and gentlemen, Kash Patel, final notable answer, says this is how they're going to prevent future assassination attempts. In a time of heightened assassination attempts, obviously Tim Pool's house and studio was shot at, and Charlie Kirk is killed on a live stream. Here we go.
So now as director of the FBI, who do you look at? Where were the red flags? Who missed the things they shouldn't have missed in your estimation?
Well, look, it's easy to play the blame game, especially looking back at it in 2020 hindsight. But this was an interagency failure by the prior administration. You and I both know that the campaign reached out and said, hey, we need more security for the president and his team. And they refused. So that's step one. When you have more agents and more cops and more people going in ahead of time and surveilling the scene, then you can prevent attacks like this. What's come out now is that the Secret Service and other law enforcement agencies were severely limited in the resources they had leading up to the assassination attempt at Butler. That, in my opinion, is a critical failure. When you need 100 guys and you get 20, there's only so much 20 can do. And so I think, to me, that's the criticality of it.
Do you think we'll ever get full accountability? Will there ever be a person or people who, because of their failure, this happened and they're held accountable, do you think?
I mean, I think for me, from the Bureau perspective, it's criminal conduct. You know, will we ever get to a position in this investigation as of right now today? Did anyone conduct criminal acts of actual negligence? We don't have information to support that. And that's not saying it didn't happen, but we're basing our information on the totality of information that the prior administration collected at that time.